We know that the 5.7 Hemi is coming back, but what if I told you Dodge doesn't need to bring back the 392 or the base 6.2 liter Hellcat Hemi at all? The Hellcat Everything era has had its time to shine as one of the greatest eras of modern performance. And now it is time to move on and crown the Redeye era as the next stepping stone in Mopar's dominance over the entire automotive industry. The 6.2 liter high output supercharged Hemi, aka the Redeye engine, is the real crown jewel of Mopar performance, and it barely got used in any models. It only lived in a handful of Dodge vehicles, the Charger Redeye, the Challenger Redeye, and a small run of Challenger Superstocks. This engine basically gave the owners 2018 Demon performance for all those that missed out or were screwed over like me and get a 2018 Demon. Meanwhile, Dodge was flooding the streets with the base 6.2 liter Hellcat engines. You had the standard 707 that got upgraded to 717, and literally everything from Chargers to Challengers to Durangos to Grand Cherokees, and my favorite, the Ram TRX. Now talk about a Hellcat overload, but that is exactly my point. It had its time, it had its era. But now it's time for a Redeye Everything era. Everyone is caught up to the Hellcat. Ford has a GT500 and a Raptor R. GM has the Z06, the Z01, the ZL1, the Escalade V, the Blackwing. It's time to tell Ford and GM to read between the lines, hold our beer. We're gonna Redeye everything and just do better, bro. Just saying. But why even bring back the 392 Hemi? I'm gonna focus on this one for a second. Look, I know some of you guys love the 392 Hemi. It sounds amazing, it's reliable, it pulled big numbers in scat packs in those days, but we're not in 2018 anymore. It's naturally aspirated in a world that's going boosted, and it can't really make that much more power on a budget when you try to actually get more power out of those cars. It made more sense back then that Dodge needed a stepping stone to the Hellcat, but I personally don't think the 392 should come back. I think it's a better idea to give people naturally aspirated 6.2 liter Hemi engines instead. You'll be down the horsepower technically from the 6.4 Hemi, but on the upside is you basically have a naturally aspirated Hellcat Redeye or Demon 170, depending on what blower you can pick from direct connection. You can basically either do it like the way that Ford does it, where you have either ANC certified technician put the blower on, or you can go to direct connection and power brokers dealers have them slap it on top of your Charger or your Ram 1500 or Durango or whatever vehicles that Stellantis going to pump out in the next few months. You can have those vehicles on a budget and then instantly have 700, 800 or 900 horsepower vehicle with just doing one modification to the vehicle. And that's basically about it. And if Stellantis offers a factory warranty, just like Ford does, for people who actually get the blower from Ford Performance, you will literally have a situation where Stellantis will take over the entire automotive field. So all I gotta do is put 6.2 liter engines in literally all those vehicles that previously had a 6.4 in there. Now, if this sounds familiar, I talked about that in this video right here that you can go check out. And I think this is a way better alternative than bringing back the 392 Hemi. Just saying. But if Stellantis is already gonna bring back the 5.7 liter Hemi as a budget volume V8 engine, and then you still got these Hurricanes that are gonna still be kicking around that does between 400 and 550 horsepower, then the next logical step for me is to basically do not bring back the 392 Hemi engine. Just basically get rid of the engine and give everyone naturally aspirated 6.2 liter Hemi V8 engines. Through one action, you can basically have a way more powerful vehicle that makes a lot more sense. Now, I pointed out over the past year that Stellantis was already working on some new engines, but who knows when they'll get built, when they'll get tested, when they'll actually get put in a vehicle. And that just all depends on how California and other states are going to try to fight Trump on trying to get these emissions laws to stick to where they can't actually release those engines. If Congress does not pass the Transportation Freedom Act or some of these other bills, these new engines that might be in development going to basically be SOL within the next 3 to 4 years if the new administration comes into office that doesn't like the fact that we like V8 engines. If you're going to check out why this bill right here, the Transportation Freedom Act, is very important, you can check it out right here. Now let's talk the numbers, because I think that one thing that Dodge definitely do is put E85 on every single Hemi engine that they're gonna come out with over the next several months. Now, if we look at the numbers, the 6.2 liter high output Redeye engine, for example, is 797 horsepower on pump gas, or 808 horsepower during the last call years once they got rid of that, oh, we'll never make another car that's as powerful as 2018 Demon nonsense, and actually gave it back its full potential horsepower on 93 octane. Now, that engine is also capable of going up to 885 horsepower when you do race fuel stage kits, but the Demon 170, on the other hand, that engine is capable of doing 1,025 horsepower on E85, and that engine also has flex fuel sensors that adjust the horsepower based on how much ethanol is in your gas tank. Now, both those engines come with power chiller tech that was developed back in 2018 for the 2018 Demon. Now, to me, honestly, I think a smart move for Dodge is to bring the E85 sensor over from the Demon 170 over to the Redeye engine, and now we're cooking with E85 fuel that's a lot easier to find than in race fuel. As big as the new Dodge Charger is, which is literally within 1 inch of the Grand Cherokee L, a Redeye Charger makes sense to me to be the top ICE sedan. Don't even bring in a Hellcat, because I think that a Hellcat Charger will basically get smoked by everything, right? It'll definitely get smoked by Z06. It'll probably get smoked by the incoming GT500, which is supposed to be coming in production sometime maybe next year, and it'll probably have right around 800 horsepower. And I won't even bring in the 01 because that'll easily smoke the Charger, but that just means that Dodge has to like kind of like, you know, dust off the Demon 170's 1,025 horsepower engine, but I'll just keep that for another day. But just imagine if they just kept retired the older Hellcat engine and the 392 and basically just Redeye everything. You can Redeye the Grand Cherokee, bring it back a new Trackhawk with 800 horsepower, really almost 900 horsepower if they bring in E85 and stage kits. You can have a new next generation Durango's coming out in the next year or two that can be a Redeye engine that's going to be smoke the current Durango Hellcat. Then you can have a Grand Wagoneer, basically Redeye engine. It's going to have the ability to just destroy the Escalade V and really just outclass it in every way with almost 200 more horsepower on E85, from 685 to almost 880 some horsepower. That's 200 more horsepower than the Escalade V, and they keep the price lower than Escalade V. That vehicle will not stand a chance. So I'm just saying there's plenty of ammunition for Dodge and Stellantis and Ram to have if they just put these daggone Redeye engines in vehicles instead of regular Hellcats. I mean, just even a Redeye TRX could push almost 900 horsepower and just destroy the Raptor R. Raptor R couldn't even compete with a 900 horsepower TRX with it only having around 720 horsepower. And then I think that's how, if Stellantis does this, that's how you reset the horsepower wars back in Stellantis' favor, and that's how you quickly gain market share. That's the really only problem is going to be cost, but I think this is how you put Stellantis back on the map. And then that's how you make Mopar fun again for everyone across the board. Because here's the thing, we don't really need 6 trim levels of Hemi engines anymore. None of that RT, Scat Pack, Hellcat, Redeye, Super Stock Demon. We probably need maybe 2 or 3 trims and then just be done with it, or we'll get a repeat of all these different versions of the same car looking like one another. I mean, the problem I have with this new Charger is every new Charger from EV to Hurricane and Hemi all will look pretty much exactly the same. All will have wide bodies and all gonna look pretty much very similar, right? Even the new RHO and the TRX are basically gonna look exactly the same because they're basically gonna be the exact same bodies. So I wish in this new era that Stellantis basically kept everything simple, stupid. No more 13 trims and 5 different engines. No more base Hellcat, wide body Hellcat, narrow body Redeye, wide body Redeye. Just make the 707 to 717 horsepower era over and just move forward. Because already moving forward, there will not be any Scat Pack 392s because Dodge stuck that name with the EV that is failing. So I think honestly for Dodge to move forward, basically just come out with the Super B trim and give them a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated version of the Hemi engine. That way they can go upgrade through direct connection with a blower, and they would basically be on the same level as the actual Mustangs are with their 5.0 liter getting blowers through Ford Performance, which I said is in this video right here. Now there's still gonna be Hurricane engines running around, so I think that engine is basically gonna be an option on most of these mid-level cars, but I think everyone else who wants Hemis to basically just have a 5.7, a 6.2 naturally aspirated, and a 6.2 high output version, just Redeye everything else and just be done with it. I think that would be a way better way to get like Dodge, Ram, and Jeep right back on the map. Now me personally, I love having a Demon 170. I think that is an awesome car. And I think Dodge should take some of the stuff from the Demon 170 and move it down to other cars like they did with the 2018 Demon. They took things from 2018 Demon and moved it down to like the Redeye and the actual super stock cars. So I think with Demon 170, in this particular case, I think they should move down the E85 option so people can get fuel like E85 and actually had the fuel sensor in there to where it automatically adjusts horsepower based on ethanol content. And a lot easier to get E85 than it is to get race fuel that they did with these stage kits. So I think this should be unlocked for everyone who has Hemis in their cars. That way, this will be a great option for people to have cheaper fuel in the cars, the SUVs, and the trucks. Because my Demon 170, it cost me $2.25 a gallon to fill it up compared to like $4 a gallon to fill it with 93. But we're in a weird time right now because all these brands are tiptoeing around these EV mandates, scared to go all in on gas once again. But if Stellantis wants to reclaim the throne in the horsepower wars, then they have to keep up and they have to make a statement with more power. Because Ford's going to keep making Raptor Rs with 720 horsepower. They're going to make the Mustang GT500. It's going to probably have 800 horsepower this time, sometime next year. GM's going to keep milking out these LT engines in like the Corvette, making 670 horsepower, naturally aspirated. And then now they got the 01s with 1,000 horsepower. They got the Black Wings with 700 horsepower. So GM and Ford, they are bringing the heat. But Stellantis want to take over and make a statement. Bring back the Redeye, bring in the E85, and Redeye the whole lineup to make a statement that they can't be touched when they want to. But let me know what you guys think. Would you rather see the 302 Hemi or the actual 6.2 liter version naturally aspirated inside of maybe a Super B trim in the near future that you can actually upgrade with different blowers to bring in even more power than you ever could imagine that a Scat Pack could do? Would you want to see a Hellcat powered TRX or maybe a new upgraded version of TRX that has a Redeye engine in it that takes on a Raptor R and a Chevy ZR2? Or would you guys want to see a Demon 170 powered stuff that is going to destroy everything? Demon 170 powered Charger, Durango, Grand Wagoneer, or a Demon 170 powered TRX with over 1,000 horsepower. Now, me personally, like I said, I think that the Redeye Era with the 6.2 liter high output Hemi version, that should be the future with at least 800 horsepower in these vehicles. And the old era, the Hellcat, should rest in peace. But if you want to ensure that we're going to see Hemis for at least the next 10 years, you're going to want to make sure you check out this video right here and tell your congressman or woman to support this bill, the Transportation Freedom Act, which will allow these companies like Stellantis and Ford and GM to make engines that we all know and love. You go check out this video right here. And while you do so, until the next time, I'm going to be out.